I look 4 election cycles ahead. I just don't look one election after the election. If I want to change Thailand, I want to change Thailand sustainably through parliamentary system to the certain extent that when we win this and when we dominate ideas with the younger generation of military, younger generation of monopolies, that they understand what I'm trying to do. So that when we win to that level where we are the undisputed leader of democratic Thailand, they are ready to be working with me because they totally understand, and I have dominated the ideas that, you know, a full democracy with inclusive growth, with bottom-up economics, with environmental rights and everything that we do is beneficial to them. I'm a bridge,
Right.
and not a bomb to you. I'm a resource and not a rebel.
Right.
I'm a consensus and not a conflict.
Right.
So it takes time for me to explain to them, you know, what I'm trying to say and why it matters, and look at South Korea democratic struggle, 1987, 1988 in the Olympics, 1993, and the high-tech and high-touch economy that the South Korea has, for example. No two countries are alike, you know, but, you know, look at all these things that once the dictatorship is out, creativity is allowed through trial and error. Innovation is allowed through trial and error. Obviously, a lot of government subsidies throughout that time that I understand, but still, you know, the kind that democracy makes sense for innovation and also for creativity as well.
Right.
So for that kind of understanding, we'll be able to fight what is called the tyranny of the minority. Your question can be summarized in one word.
Okay.
Tyranny of the minority.
Okay.
Is that top 1% that already has it figured out what the secret sauce should be that they can keep elected power at bay. I mean, it used to be military coup all around the world. It can be judicial coup.
Right.
It used to be warfare all around the world. Now it can be lawfare. It used to be violence on the street. Now it can be violence in the courtroom. You see what I'm trying to say? So, yeah, the tyranny of the minority is a kind of concept that they have all these mechanisms that stops people's choice or elected power to govern and reflect, to have that kind of linkage with the people who voted for them. So.
Right. But again, I'm just going to throw out these questions. You had that movement in Thailand. You had the yellow shirts. You had the red shirts. Each time, Thai people, they wanted to change. They wanted democracy. They wanted a better future. Yet, again, I have to come back to this question. Establishments, very effective. What makes you different than those previous movements?
So I feel like even if it's, you know, the control of the agenda, the right to peaceful assembly as part of democracy, that's not the route that we wanted to choose. Like I said loud and clear, that if I want to change Thailand, we decided that we want to form a party, run for elections, you know, enter parliament and change the country even slowly but sustainably, you know, at the right rhythm, rather than organizing a lot of political protests to my political advantage, systematically hiring people to go on the streets and wear the same color shirt. I'm not accusing that they did, but I said, you know, there's some resources that is required for people to systematically go out. But organically, if people want to get on the street to have that ability to control their agenda after the election, that's part of democracy. So that's not the path that I wanted to choose. It's different this time, and it's going to be more effective this time because we are choosing the sustainable route through parliamentary change. That finally, when we keep winning and winning and winning more and more than last time, as well as dominating the ideas of what alternative Thailand could look like and how a mid-range soldiers like you could play a part. Police, how are they going to play a part? Judges, how are they going to play a part? And that's what we've been doing all along. So even in the most heavily dense military district, we won. So by election, I feel like there's
So there is a hope.
There's hope, and there's collapse from within the military that wants human rights, that want to be professional defense for the country, that wanted reform by itself. I think this resemblance story is about South Korea as well. You know, when there's the collapse from within, you know, there's a newer generation of people who are supposed to be your opponent, supposed to be your competitor, starting to agree with you that this is not the way to go. This is the right path to go. And that's how we gain momentum by momentum. It's about accumulation of victory. It doesn't have to be, you know, at breakneck speed and break everything. Cadence and rhythm of change is important, and also leadership is constant struggle to make change happen. You know, if it's not constant, it's not leadership. If there's no struggle, there's no need for leaders. So it's constant struggle to make change happen, but then you have to show the direction of where you want to change, and then, you know, constantly, bit by bit, finally we'll get there. Just like how South Korea did.
Well, you talked about the words that you used, the rhythm, the sustainable change. It sounds soft, yet your opposition seems like they're trying to frame you as maverick, or actually beyond maverick, revolutionist. Your party and yourself is described as, what is it called? Social progressive. Yet what they've successfully done, or is trying to do, is they're trying to put you as someone who's really against tradition, something that is going to threaten what Thailand makes Thailand. And they're doing it. They're doing quite successfully right now. And what you said was, only way to overcome that is by winning election, but obviously you need the people's backing. So for example, from outsiders, what you have achieved, and this came about in our yesterday's conversation, I was fascinated is the fact that from outsider's point of view, you are very popular among the young people. And when we associate with the young people, change, progressive, always go hand in hand in a way. Yet you are able to successfully gather support from even elderly generation and some military, the establishment as well. How are you able to do that? Is that also a hope or sign that it's not just about young people, it's not just about people at the bottom, but it's that throughout the Thailand that everybody actually want this change?
Well, first I have to reconcile with your question first. I feel like all around the world, not just Thailand, but to level people. Okay, first part of the question asked whether I'm a reformist or a revolutionist. That's essentially
that was my question.
Part of the question. I'm a reformist. We want to reform to deter revolution.
Okay.
We feel like if we're not the common ground, if we're not the consensus, if we're not the middle path, something stronger than reform might happen. So I'm a reformist that's trying to move the country forward to deter revolution, something that is too radical to be able to control. And that will destabilize Thailand, that will destabilize ASEAN, that will destabilize Asia. So that's something that we don't want. We want to be able to control the cadence of our reform and leave no one behind, to be extremely clear on that.
Okay.
The second part, yes, we're part of Progressive Alliance, Social Democrats all around the world. You know, so think German SPD, think Sana Marines, SDP, think Jacinda Ardern's Labour Party. So we're part of the same association called Progressive Alliance. But I feel like nowadays it's so outdated to put people in political spectrum, whether it's conservative or progressive or liberal or neo-conservative and all that. For us, the political calculus or the political spectrum changed from horizontal to vertical.
Right.
Is that 1% against that 99%? Is those monopolies that enjoy majority of the wealth in Thailand, according to Oxfam, 1% holds 70% of the wealth. So it's really not putting someone into last name that Mr. Lee is conservative and I'm a progressive. And also, we're from different countries. Conservative here is probably very liberal in Thailand, for example, or if you compare it to any other countries in the Middle East, for example, that's a wrong kind of comparison or the wrong kind of labeling of other people. But 1% and the 99%, the aggressor and the aggressees, that's the kind of politics that we wanted to do. So it's not about gender, it's not about age, it's not about which zip codes you're from. It's about that 1% and that 99%, that 1% who has it all, the concentration of wealth, the kind of income that's from rent seeking, the ability to get closer to politics and power very easily because of the campaign finance that they do. So we want to represent that 99% rather. So because of that, that's why whether, the newer generation or the younger generation or regions, that's not a problem for us. In Thailand, 76 districts, either we came number 1 or number 2, never number 3. Because of the way we think about this. And we don't think that, the southern part of Thailand is conservative. That's not in our head at all. We just think that, in the southern part of Thailand, regardless whether they're conservative or a liberal, what keeps them awake at night? And we try to find solutions for them. That's what we do. That's what we do.
I'm sitting here talking to you, and it seems very reasonable. You don't sound like, again, a revolutionist or outsider or just outlier, but it does seem like you're a disruptor for sure for what's happening in Thailand. But it seems like you got a lot to handle and a lot on the table because, when these type of, desire to change, and you're talking about the magnitude of change that only few countries has gone through in a way. And if there's a desire by the people to change, normally the constituencies, the people, the voters, they want to see it immediately. I mean, they really don't know how to wait that long. And what you have laid out is also that you're accepting the fact that this has to be a continuous effort. And the change is to make sure that there is no major disruption in the way that Thai people live. So it seems like they voted for you and they're supporting you for that immediate change. Yet the change that the Thai system, whether that is a lack of democracy or just a checkbox, but really it is not. What if the gap seems the reality and the dream seems like there's a huge gap in Thailand right now. And actually you're going through that. I'm sure you're contemplating how to handle all these very difficult situations.
Or to be the bridge between the gap. That's what you do.
Right. But the gap, it seems very huge.
And polarized. Because of various things, technology-wise. The algorithm in social media that keeps people more polarized in the way they think. So I feel like that was my value or my offering during the campaign election, to be the bridge,
right,
to be the new consensus. Because of my age, at the age of 43, I understand the people who come before me, who come after me. Public-private sector,
right.
That's the reason why I went to the public policy school as well as the business administration school, bachelor in finance and master at graduate school in politics. Boston Consulting Group, private sector, and also some experience in politics before running, and also the international side and the rural side of things. I mean, I could be in Sakonakon in Thailand talking about how to prevent rice mitigation or rice fumigation, and I could be in Tokyo Midtown negotiating about things. So that's why I said, I want to be the bridge between these things so that finally Thailand has that kind of consensus, new consensus for new normal. So finally we can focus on the real issues going forward. Now that we talk about time, I want to ask You are probably the organizer. Is that the time remaining?
It is. We have 15 minutes.
So I'll be more concise with my answers then.
No, your answer